Chapter 1. 2 Tickets. I want to tell you something about Marco. He's rich, but he's a bad man. You're being stupid, Sylvia.
Gabriel had a kind face and intelligent brown eyes. He usually had a friendly smile, but there was no smile on his face today. He wasn't happy. I'd like to be as rich as Marco, he thought, but I'm only good old Gabriel. Sylvia likes me. I know she does. She thinks I'm kind and nice, but she thinks I'm boring too. Boring old Gabriel, that's me. Gabriel had 2 tickets for a film. There was a red rose on the table in his sitting room. He took the rose and the tickets and went out. An hour later, Gabriel arrived at the door of Sylvia's flat. When she opened the door, she didn't smile at him. "Oh, hello," she said. "What, Don't you remember, Sylvia?" said Gabriel. "It's Sunday evening. We're going to the cinema. I've got the tickets. It's that great new film. You said—" "What do you mean?" said Sylvia. "I can't go out with you this evening. I'm busy. I don't remember." "But I called you on Thursday," Gabriel said. "You wanted to come." Sylvia pushed her beautiful dark hair out of her eyes. She didn't look at Gabriel. "Oh dear," she said. "That was stupid of me. I'm really sorry. Please don't be angry, Gabriel. Come back tomorrow. We'll go to the film tomorrow." She began to shut the door. "Sylvia," Gabriel said angrily, "you're going out with Marco. I know you are. I want to tell you something about Marco. He's rich, but he's a bad man. You're being stupid, Sylvia."
Chapter 2. A Table for 2. Marco didn't know about the Delgados' money. He saw their pictures, their jewellery, and other expensive things, and he liked them all.
Marco stood at the door of Sylvia's flat and watched Gabriel leaving. He looked carefully at his clothes and his shoes. Why didn't Sylvia open the door? She was in there. Then, suddenly, it opened. "Sylvia, dear," Marco said, "you look wonderful." He stopped. Sylvia didn't look wonderful. Her face was red, and she looked unhappy. Gabriel said something to her, Marco thought. What was it? That young man doesn't like me, and I don't like him. He followed Sylvia into the sitting room. "I'm nearly ready," she said. "Have a drink. I'll come in a minute." Marco knew the Delgados' sitting room well. He went to the table and got a drink. Then he sat down in an expensive armchair. He liked the flat. There were beautiful pictures on the walls, and everything in the room looked very expensive. Sylvia lived with her mother. Her father was dead. Before he died, Mr. Delgado had a good job. He had cars and friends and a lot of money. But the Delgados weren't a rich family now, and Sylvia's mother was ill. The doctor often came and visited her. Sometimes Mrs. Delgado had to go to hospital. She had to have good food and expensive medicines. The Delgados didn't have much money now.
Chapter 3. Sylvia's Story. Suddenly, the lights went out, and it was nearly dark. Then, people started to scream. Sylvia didn't move. She couldn't move.
The ground moved under Sylvia's feet. Help! What is it? What's happening? She thought. There was a terrible noise, and she looked up into the sky. Perhaps the noise and the shaking came from a plane. Suddenly, the lights went out, and it was nearly dark. Then people started to scream. Sylvia didn't move. She couldn't move. It's an earthquake, she thought. Oh no, please no. The ground moved again. A long crack started to run up from the bottom of the wall in front of her to the top. Then the wall opened, and Sylvia could see the people inside the restaurant. They tried to run. Their screams were terrible. She could see hands pushing and pulling. She could see their faces and their eyes. They were terribly afraid. Then the wall fell, and the roof came down. Sylvia couldn't see the faces and hands now. The Oasis restaurant wasn't there. It was only rubble. Sylvia couldn't move. She couldn't scream. Marco's in there, she thought. Marco, and the manager, and those people, they... Oh, I can't... I don't... There was another loud noise behind her. Sylvia turned. Another building fell, and another, and another. Suddenly, she remembered her mother.
Chapter 4. Neighbours. Where's my mother? She's not in our flat. You know she can't walk. Did somebody take her?
Sylvia sat down on her mother's bed and cried. Where is she? She thought. Who's with her? What can I do? She stood up. Her feet hurt, so she went to her bedroom for some better shoes. She started to take off her dress, but then she heard another loud noise. Another building fell. I can't stay here inside the building, she thought. It's too dangerous. She went quickly out of the flat and down into the street. Then she stopped. Where can I go? What can I do? She thought. First, she had to find her mother. After that... But no, she didn't want to think about Marco. He was in the ruins of the Oasis restaurant. And she couldn't think about Gabriel. Perhaps he was in the ruins of the Plaza Cinema. Suddenly, she saw a neighbour. The old man lived in the next building. She went to him and put her hand on his arm. Oh, Mr. Enrique, she said, you're safe. The old man didn't move. He didn't see or hear her. His face was white and his hands shook. He started to cry quietly. Sylvia shook his arm. Mr. Enrique, she said, it's me, Sylvia Delgado. Where's my mother? She's not in our flat. You know she can't walk. Did somebody take her? Who? Where did they go? The old man turned and looked at her.